It all started in Scotland, in a small studio called DMA Design. They were not trying to start a revolution, they were just trying to make a fun game. The year was 1997. The game was initially called Race and Chase. The idea was simple. You could be a cop or a criminal. You would chase people or run from the law. It was a top-down driving game. You looked at the city from above, like a god watching tiny cars scurry around. It was fun, but it was missing something. A spark. A bit of chaos. The developers found that playing as the criminal was far more entertaining. The switch was made. The focus shifted entirely to the life of crime. The name changed too. It became Grand Theft Auto. A much more provocative title. It promised something illicit, something forbidden. You were no longer just a driver. You were a car thief. A low-level hoodlum trying to make a name for yourself. The game gave you missions from payphones, steal a car, deliver a package, cause some mayhem. The cities, Liberty City, Vice City and San Andreas, were sprawling digital playgrounds viewed from that iconic top-down perspective. They felt alive, even with their simple, pixelated graphics. The core of the game was freedom. This was the real magic. You could follow the missions, yes, or you could just ignore them. You could steal any car you saw, a sports car, a truck, a taxi. You could just drive, explore the city, listen to the different radio stations, each with its own unique flavor and music. You could cause a massive pileup just for the fun of it. This level of player agency was groundbreaking. It wasn't about winning or losing. It was about existing in this digital world and doing whatever you wanted. It was a sandbox of digital delinquency. So, Grand Theft Auto was released upon the world. It wasn't an instant, earth-shattering blockbuster, but it found its audience. Gamers who were tired of linear paths and invisible walls. They were drawn to the freedom and the rebellious spirit of the game. It was a game that didn't hold your hand. It dropped you into the thick of it and said, "Go." It was the beginning of something huge. A small Scottish studio had planted the seed of a gaming empire, though they couldn't have possibly known it at the time. The stage was set for a phenomenon that would redefine interactive entertainment. The game was a hit, but it also hit a nerve. The media took notice, not just for the gameplay, but for the content. This was a game that rewarded crime. You got points for running people over, you stole cars, you worked for criminal bosses. Politicians and parent groups were outraged. They called it a murder simulator. They said it was corrupting the youth. The controversy was loud, it was angry, and it was the best marketing the developers could have ever asked for. Every news report, every horrified editorial made more people want to see what all the fuss was about. This public outcry created a feedback loop. The more people condemned the game, the more copies it sold. It became a symbol of rebellion. It was the forbidden fruit of the gaming world. Owning a copy felt like an act of defiance. The developers at DMA Design found themselves in the middle of a cultural firestorm. They had set out to make a fun game about cops and robbers, and now they were being discussed in parliaments and on national news broadcasts. The controversy cemented Grand Theft Auto's identity as an outlaw franchise, a reputation it would lean into for decades to come. Riding this wave of notoriety, DMA Design released GTA 2 in 1999. It was an evolution, not a revolution. It kept the same top-down perspective. The graphics were a bit sharper, the world felt a little more detailed, but the key addition was the gang system. Now your actions had consequences beyond just attracting police attention. You could work for different criminal factions in the city. Gaining respect with one gang, like the Yakuza, would make you an enemy of another, like the Russian mob. This added a new layer of strategy to the chaos. GTA 2 was more of the same, but refined. It showed that the success of the first game was not a fluke. The formula worked. Freedom, crime, and a sense of humor. The game's world, Anywhere City, was a retro-futuristic metropolis that felt distinct. The missions were more varied, and the introduction of save points made the experience less punishing for players. The series was growing up, slowly but surely. It was building its foundation, solidifying its core mechanics, and proving that it had staying power beyond the initial shock value. The outlaw was becoming an institution. Then everything changed. DMA Design was now Rockstar North, and they were about to tear up the rulebook. The year was 2001. The PlayStation 2 had arrived, offering a new world of technical possibilities. The team decided to take the biggest gamble in the series' history. They were abandoning the top-down view. They were taking Grand Theft Auto into the third dimension. This was a monumental task. It meant rebuilding everything from the ground up. The city, the cars, the people. It all had to exist in a believable 3D space. The result was Grand Theft Auto 3. It was not just a game, it was a landmark. It dropped players onto the streets of a fully realized, breathing Liberty City. For the first time, you weren't looking down on the world, you were in it. You could look up at the skyscrapers. You could see the rain slicking the pavement. You could stand on a street corner and just watch the world go by. The sense of immersion was staggering. It felt less like a game and more like a place. The story was also more cinematic, following a silent protagonist named Claude on a quest for revenge through the city's criminal underworld. This shift to 3D amplified the series' core tenets. The freedom was no longer abstract, it was tangible. Stealing a car wasn't just about pressing a button and watching a sprite change. It was about yanking a driver out of their seat, getting in, and peeling away from the scene. The world was filled with new activities. You could take on side missions as a taxi driver, a paramedic, or a firefighter. You could search for hidden packages or attempt insane stunt jumps. The city was not just a backdrop for missions, it was the main character. Grand Theft Auto 3 became a system seller for the PlayStation 2. It was a cultural phenomenon that transcended gaming. It set a new standard for open-world games, a standard that countless other developers would try to emulate for years to come. The term GTA clone became a common descriptor for any game that featured a large, explorable city and criminal activities. Rockstar had not just made a sequel, they had created a genre. The little outlaw game from Scotland had grown up and taken over the world. The revolution was in full swing. Rockstar did not rest on its laurels. With the 3D engine built, they could now explore new settings and ideas. Just 1 year after GTA 3, they released Grand Theft Auto Vice City in 2002. This time, they transported players from the gritty, dark streets of Liberty City to the neon-soaked, pastel-drenched metropolis of Vice City, a clear homage to 1980s Miami. The change in atmosphere was electric. It was a world of fast cars, big hair, and cocaine-fueled ambition, heavily inspired by films and TV shows like Scarface and Miami Vice. The game had a vibrant, infectious personality. Vice City introduced a voiced protagonist, the charismatic and hot-tempered Tommy Vercetti. This was a huge step forward for storytelling in the series. Players connected with Tommy's rise from a small-time thug to a criminal kingpin. The game also expanded the sandbox significantly. For the first time, you could fly helicopters and airplanes. You could buy businesses, like a taxi company or an ice cream factory, which would generate income and unlock new missions. The soundtrack was a masterpiece, a perfectly curated collection of 80s pop, rock and new wave that made driving through the city an unforgettable experience. Then came the big one. In 2004, Rockstar released Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. If Vice City expanded the world, San Andreas blew it wide open. It wasn't just a city, it was an entire state. It featured 3 major cities: Los Santos, based on Los Angeles, San Fierro, which was San Francisco, and Las Venturas, inspired by Las Vegas, connected by vast stretches of countryside, forests, mountains, and deserts. The scale was unprecedented. The game was set in the early 1990s, tackling themes of gang warfare, police corruption, and West Coast hip-hop culture. San Andreas was packed with new features. The protagonist, CJ, had RPG-like stats that you could improve. You could go to the gym to build muscle, eat to gain weight, and practice shooting to improve your aim. You could customize cars with hydraulics and nitro. You could recruit members for your gang and engage in large-scale territory wars. You could even go swimming and diving, a first for the series. San Andreas was a monumental achievement, a game so vast and filled with content that it felt like a world without limits. It was the peak of that gaming generation. After the sprawling fantasy of San Andreas, Rockstar decided to change direction again. They wanted to create something, more grounded, more mature. The next generation of consoles, the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, provided the power to do so. In 2008, they released Grand Theft Auto 4. This time, players returned to Liberty City, but it was a completely different place. This was a dark, gritty, and incredibly detailed recreation of New York City. The playful, cartoonish style of the previous games was gone, replaced by a stunning, almost photorealistic world. The game's story was also more somber. It followed Niko Bellic, an immigrant from Eastern Europe who comes to America chasing a dream that quickly turns into a nightmare. He was a more complex and tragic protagonist than any before him. He was a man haunted by his past, trying to find his place in a cynical and unforgiving world. The game's narrative was a powerful critique of the American dream, exploring themes of disillusionment, betrayal, and the cyclical nature of violence. The tone was serious, and the humor was more satirical and biting than ever before. The gameplay was also overhauled to match this new focus on realism. The physics engine was revolutionary. Cars had weight and momentum. Crashes were brutal and spectacular. The new cover system made shootouts more tactical and intense. The Euphoria animation engine meant that characters reacted realistically to being shot or hit by a car. Every pedestrian on the street seemed to have their own life, their own routine. The world felt less like a playground and more like a living, breathing simulation. It was a technological marvel that immersed the player like never before. Grand Theft Auto 4 also marked the series' first major foray into online multiplayer. While previous games had simple multiplayer modes, GTA 4 introduced a fully featured online component. Up to 16 players could roam freely around Liberty City, engaging in various game modes like deathmatches, street races, and cooperative missions. It was a taste of what was to come. It laid the groundwork for the online behemoth that would follow. GTA 4 was a bold statement. It proved that the series could mature, that it could tell a serious story without losing its soul. 5 years after Niko Bellic's somber journey, Rockstar was ready to unleash its most ambitious project yet. In 2013, Grand Theft Auto 5 arrived, and it was a game of unprecedented scale and innovation. The setting returned to the state of San Andreas, but this time focusing on a massively expanded and reimagined Los Santos and its surrounding countryside. The map was bigger than GTA 4, San Andreas, and Red Dead Redemption combined. It was a sprawling, diverse world, from the glitzy streets of Vinewood to the dusty trailer parks of Blaine County, all rendered with breathtaking detail. The biggest innovation was the story. For the first time, players didn't control one protagonist, they controlled three. There was Michael DeSanta, a retired bank robber living a miserable life in witness protection. There was Franklin Clinton, a young street hustler looking for a way out of the hood. And then there was Trevor Phillips, Michael's unhinged and violent former partner. The genius of this system was the ability to switch between the three characters at almost any time. You could be in a police chase as Franklin, then switch to Trevor flying a plane over the mountains, then switch to Michael in the middle of a yoga session. This three-character dynamic was woven directly into the gameplay, most notably in the game's spectacular heist missions. These were multi-stage complex operations that required careful planning. You would choose your approach, loud and aggressive or smart and stealthy, and hire a crew with different skills. During the heist, you would switch between the characters on the fly, each performing a specific role. One might be providing a sniper cover, another controlling the map, and the third hacking the vault. These missions were the cinematic high points of the game, delivering an incredible sense of teamwork and excitement. Grand Theft Auto 5 was a critical and commercial juggernaut. It shattered sales records, becoming one of the best-selling entertainment products of all time. It was the culmination of everything Rockstar had learned over the years. It had the scale of San Andreas, the storytelling depth of GTA 4, and a new level of technical polish. It masterfully balanced its dark satire of modern American culture with moments of pure, unadulterated fun. The world was filled with an insane amount of detail and activities, ensuring that players would have things to do for It was a masterpiece of open-world design. While Grand Theft Auto V's single-player story was a masterpiece, its other half would prove to have even longer legs. A few weeks after the game's launch, Rockstar released Grand Theft Auto Online. This wasn't just a collection of multiplayer modes like in GTA 4. It was a persistent shared online world. Players created their own custom characters and were set loose in the vast San Andreas map alongside others. It was the ultimate GTA sandbox, a living world that would evolve and grow over time. The launch was rocky, plagued by server issues, but the potential was clear. Rockstar treated GTA Online not as a static game, but as an ongoing service. They began releasing a steady stream of free updates, adding new vehicles, weapons, clothing, and most importantly, new gameplay. There were new cooperative missions, competitive races, and adversary modes. But the game changers were the major content updates. The Heists update finally brought the complex, multi-stage missions from the single-player game into the online world, allowing teams of players to plan and execute daring robberies together. This was a massive draw that brought millions of players back to the game. Over the years, the updates became more and more ambitious. Players could become the CEO of a criminal enterprise, buying offices and warehouses to manage illicit cargo. They could become a biker gang president, running drug labs and counterfeiting operations. They could buy underground bunkers to trade arms, or massive nightclubs to launder money. They added a giant casino where you could gamble and a private tropical island, Cayo Perico, to launch an entirely new heist. The game transformed from a simple criminal sandbox into a complex life simulator of a high-end criminal. This constant stream of new content has kept GTA Online wildly popular for over a decade, spanning 3 console generations. It has generated billions of dollars in revenue for Rockstar through the sale of in-game currency, known as Shark Cards. This incredible success has reshaped the gaming industry, popularizing the games as a service model. GTA Online is a world that never sleeps, a digital city that is constantly changing and offering new adventures. It has become a social hub, a place where friends meet up to cause chaos, a phenomenon in its own right. Grand Theft Auto is more than just a video game series. It is a cultural institution. Its influence can be seen everywhere. Other game developers have spent 2 decades trying to capture the magic of its open worlds. Its name is shorthand for a certain kind of freedom and chaos. It is referenced in movies, TV shows, and music. Rappers name-drop the game in their lyrics. The distinct wasted screen and the star-based wanted level have become iconic images, instantly recognizable even to people who have never played the game. It has become part of the global cultural lexicon, but with great influence comes great scrutiny. From its very first installment, the series has been a lightning rod for controversy. Critics have consistently condemned its depiction of violence, crime, and its treatment of women. The ability to engage in amoral acts with few consequences has been a constant source of debate. The infamous hot coffee scandal in San Andreas, where a hidden sexually explicit minigame was discovered, led to legal battles and a re-rating of the game. These controversies have kept the series in the headlines and fueled a continuous conversation about the impact of violent media. Rockstar's response to this criticism has often been to lean into it. The games are deeply satirical, and their creators would argue that they are not glorifying crime, but parodying a media landscape and a society that does. The in-game radio stations, TV shows, and websites are filled with sharp, often brutal satire of American culture, politics, consumerism, and celebrity obsession. The games hold up a distorted mirror to society, and the reflection is often not a pretty one. For many fans, this sharp social commentary is a key part of the series' appeal. Ultimately, the legacy of Grand Theft Auto is complex. It is simultaneously one of the most celebrated and one of the most condemned franchises in entertainment history. It pushed the boundaries of what was possible in interactive entertainment, giving players unprecedented freedom and creating worlds of incredible depth and detail. At the same time, it has been at the center of moral panics and has been accused of promoting negative values. It is a series that forces us to ask questions about art, censorship, and the stories we choose to tell. Its impact, for better or worse, is undeniable. For over a decade, Grand Theft Auto V and its online counterpart have dominated the gaming landscape. But in the background, the question has always lingered: what's next? The anticipation for Grand Theft Auto 6 has grown into a phenomenon of its own. For years, fans scoured every corner of the internet, dissecting rumors, alleged leaks, and cryptic messages, all in a desperate search for information. The hype reached a fever pitch, becoming a running joke and a testament to the series' immense popularity. The world was not just waiting for a new game, it was waiting for a major cultural event. In late 2023, the wait finally ended. Rockstar Games officially released the first trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6. It broke the internet. The trailer shattered YouTube viewership records, accumulating over 90 million views in its first 24 hours. It confirmed that the series would be returning to the state of Leonida, a fictionalized version of Florida, and the dazzling, chaotic streets of Vice City. The trailer showcased stunning next-generation graphics, incredibly dense crowds, and a world teeming with the kind of wild, satirical detail that the series is known for. It was a brief glimpse, but it was enough to send the hype into overdrive. The trailer also introduced one of the game's protagonists, Lucia, making her the first female lead character in a modern GTA title. The story appears to be a Bonnie and Clyde-style romance, following Lucia and her male partner on a criminal journey. This focus on a duo suggests that the character-switching mechanics from GTA V might return in a new and evolved form. The setting of modern-day Vice City promises a return to the neon and excess, but updated with the absurdity of contemporary internet culture, social media, and the unique brand of chaos that is Florida Man. The release is set for 2025. Today, on July 17, 2025, the excitement is palpable. Grand Theft Auto 6 is more than just a sequel. It represents the culmination of over 25 years of innovation. From the simple top-down game of 1997 to this upcoming hyper-realistic world, the journey has been revolutionary. GTA has consistently redefined what a video game can be, blending cutting-edge technology with sharp storytelling and unparalleled freedom. As the world counts down the days, one thing is clear: Grand Theft Auto is not just a part of gaming history, it is a force that continues to shape its future.